Buena sociedad, estamos en el capítulo número 30 de Encased, vámonos.
Russo looks up from her screen for a moment.
The chain of beacons is functioning as expected. Go down to the emulator and block the radiation around the third beacon. We need that location for the camp.
Tercera baliza, vale. Bajo el motor y bloquea la radiación de la tercera baliza. Estamos en nuestra ubicación para el campamento.
You are once again enveloped in white light, shimmering dense and sparkling like snow. But the maelstrom itself feels different now. The rotation is fast, jagged, and furious. You can barely maintain your grip. It's also difficult to control it. The connection is weak, and all you manage to do is to reduce the harmful psi radiation to a minimum in the place where Russo planned to camp. Your interaction with the maelstrom ends at that. The thin line of control slips out of your hands, cutting off the connection. The white space around shrinks rapidly into a dense, gleaming point and disappears. You are thrown out of the session. Lying on a warm metal floor, you slowly regain consciousness.
¿Qué hace Yoko aquí? Aquí está Fox. ¿Dónde está la tipa esta? Misión empezada rumbo a Concord. Has aprendido sobre el desierto rumbo a Concord, junto a Concord. Rumbo a Concord. Ahora que las luz verdes de la vorágine están instaladas y funcionan, tienes que ir a la estación Concord para contactar con la vorágine y llegar a una conclusión lógica con el proyecto emulador. Primero quiero mejorar la katana Psi. Ya.
There's a killer around here. There's a killer around here.
There's a killer around here.
Vale. Los de cadáveres. Es cierto, junto con Cort. No me interesa. Quiero terminar el juego. Nunca lo he terminado y quiero full historia. La Catañita. Aurora.
Please wait. Trainer activated. Activated.
No sé de qué es lo que voy a necesitar, así que cojo de todo.
Deactivated.
Sin mierda. Me he olvidado de esto de aquí. $160. Subido 2 niveles, joder. 160, herramientas. Alta tecnología. Alta tecnología. Alta tecnología. Alta tecnología. $154. Ciencia. Ah, science. Pues entonces sí que tengo, ¿verdad? Tengo 2 de science. Quiero decir 500 de
Activated.
science.
Deactivated.
A ver. Envenena al objetivo -15 de resistencia térmica durante 3 turnos. Esto que de aquí es para el sigilo. No sé si... ¿180, 195? No, es mejor el puño, el puñetazo. El puñetazo es mucho mejor. Pero muchísimo mejor. Pilotaje. Medicina. El crimen ha aumentado. En 4 puntos.
Greetings.
Pero ahora voy a ir con el nuevo. Hostia. Voy a ir con el final del nuevo comité. Henrietta Russo, ¿qué tal?
Henrietta, wearing a white wing field service dress, greets you with a mock military salute.
I report. Everything's functioning. There are...
She looks at the ruins in the distance.
All of this infrastructure still looks awesome. I hope one day we can build something just as impressive.
The white produces her chimeras.
Now this is the right question. Do you remember me saying there were certain problems? Well, technically everything's perfect. But I still can't connect the emulator to the Maelstrom. The Maelstrom's obviously much more compressed than I thought it was. However, I managed to define its precise coordinates.
Russo clicks some buttons.
The Maelstrom is now where the Concord Station landing ground once was. You remember the station? I hope you won't be knocked out with an attack of nostalgia, because you'll have to come to grips with the Maelstrom. Maybe then I'll be able to establish the connection.
Influencia 150.
Russo is deep in some calculus.
Mierda. Hay aquí.
Henrietta, wearing a white... She looks at the white. Russo clicks some buttons.
The Maelstrom is now where the Concord Station landing ground once was. You remember the station? I hope you won't be knocked out with an attack of nostalgia, because you'll have to come to grips with the Maelstrom. Maybe then I'll be able to establish the connection.
Decirle que a pesar de que no termines de compartir del todo los ideales del nuevo comité, es lo que te piden en relación a la vorágine.
Did you think I fully share them?
She winks. Russo looks toward the horizon.
As a scientist, I think more and more often that we shouldn't switch it off. If we do take the Maelstrom under control, we'll be able to get much more knowledge out of it than we can now. That might break new ground in science. But maybe I'm just an idealist in Red Sox.
Vale, L, ¿qué tengo que hacer? Antes de dirigirte a tu último encuentro con la vorágine, has hablado con el gabinete ruso de gestión del morador. Ruso es una científica. Esto da miedo de que la vorágine pueda ser útil a la ciencia y que debe usarse como objeto de estudio. Aquí es donde decide el destino del juego.
Nakamura is already waiting for you, cold and straight-backed as usual, standing with her arms folded. She looks you over.
Your work for the new committee wasn't exactly flawless. I've long pondered if I should enlist your aid again, but haven't come to any definitive conclusion. Convince me.
Nakamura gives you a piercing look.
You're right about that, unfortunately. I have one more task for you. That's what you're here for, right? Instruction on what to do about Maelstrom?
Kimiko nods deeply, satisfied with your reply.
It's nice to see you being sober about your role. Very well. Listen.
The Silver remains silent for a few moments, gathering the appropriate words.
The emulator project was founded to take the Maelstrom under control for the safety of the dome's inhabitants. And I will not let this control slip into the hands of dubious people. I don't care if someone assumes it to be hijacking. For me, the result is crucial, and there can be neither compromises nor half measure in this matter. I don't care whether or not you believe my course to be right. You're not supposed to give me evaluations. You only must do what I say.
Nakamura's yellow bionic eye turns a bit on its axis, aiming at you. Sable brings her a case. Kimiko clicks the turn locks open, lifts the lid, and unfolds the case, showing you its contents. There's a helmet with cables and controllers lying inside. The chairwoman pushes the case toward you.
It's kind of an emulator early version, only much weaker. I need you to link it directly to the Maelstrom. Do you understand the task?
Vale, lo he entendido.
She closes the case and pushes it toward you.
That's it then. Get ready and set about the task. Whatever you think, I do this for the new committee's sake.
She says softly as you move away.
Vale, o sea, hablar con todos para tener finales. Tenemos que elegir. Y aquí está mi caja personal, vaya. ¿Quién está aquí? ¿Quién quiere mi opinión aquí? Karma y Shtuani, mi fruta idea.
Hugging her shoulders, Karma Ishtwani paces nervously around the camp. Karma nods proudly as you approach.
Be aware that I'm monitoring your actions. Carmine Heights is sending people to Congo to keep an eye on you. That was my initiative.
Vaya. De acuerdo. Si no tienes nada más que decir, voy a ir aquí. Sí, aquí. Aquí está. Epa, ¿qué es esto?
Reverend Santiago greets you with a fixed smile. His expression is polite, but indifferent.
Ah, it's you. We all have a big day today, but you especially so.
The abbot's hologram silently hovers closer to you.
Ah, the one who survived Maelstrom. Good to see you again.
He scrutinizes your face with his attentive, restless eyes.
From the moment you crossed the threshold of the temple, I expected something more. I understand your hesitation. You were trying to pick a side. Now you're here, and I'm the one hesitating.
The luminous holographic face distorts slightly.
I understand. You hesitated regarding a choice you'd already made. I'm willing to trust you, and I'm ready to make an offer.
The old man smooths his robes with flowing motions.
The Church's position regarding the Maelstrom is long since expressed. We consider the Maelstrom neither good nor evil. It is just a calculating machine, fulfilling its prescribed function, though it is capable of performing other operations too.
The abbot bends toward you, scrutinizing your face with his intimidating dark eyes.
Here is what we intend to do. Change the Maelstrom's program. As far as I understand, you are the only one capable of it. That is why you are here. I am here. And all those people wishing to control the dome are here too. While none of them comes here meaning peace, no one gives promises of a better life, or decreasing the tension of political opposition. No. Each one speaks only of power they need, obviously only to continue their political gains from a stronger position.
He whispers, never moving his stare from your face, his voice hypnotic.
You are tired. You seek to hasten with your decision to make it all end. However, it will not end. Only moving the conflict to another level once one of the sides have the advantage of the Maelstrom. That is what anyone would do. Anyone but the Church. You took part in our sermons and you know where the calculating capacity will go. We shall open our world to everyone. Make it beautiful. Better than it is now.
The excited abbot falls silent. His thin fingers fiddle with the folds of his robes.
I hope you will see reason. It's not too late to make the right decision.
The abbot waves his translucent hand, leaving a glowing scarlet trail.
I have sent you a special program. If you manage to adjust it to the Maelstrom's frequency, its entire calculating capacity will be in the Church's order. That would be a great gift to all mankind. Think about it.
Vale, y por aquí creo que está Hieronymus, John Spencer. ¿Y dónde están los fatuos? ¿Qué es esto? Vale.
The Phalanx camp is militarily ascetic, but even it bears some semblance of comfort. A table with a lamp and some documents is standing by the fire, and a golden statue of Christ is sitting in a chair nearby. Zemeckis himself is reclining in another chair, sipping peacefully at his tea from a small cup. Zemeckis greets you with a small, sarcastic smile.
Look, Wizia. I guessed you were still deciding whose side you're on. But it seems you finally come to a realization. Or you are just weighing your options. It's probably one of those two things.
Supone que es que quiero ofrecerte un trato y esgrimir varias razones que demuestren que eres de fiar.
The head of the Phalanx pumps his fists in the air in a gesture of victory.
Bingo! You're a smart one, no doubt. You understand everything. I wouldn't be sitting here if I hadn't sought out this meeting with you. I have an offer to make. And it has to do with...
Hieronymus jerks his thumb in Maelstrom's direction.
The Maelstrom is, so to say, an omnipotent, endless source of information. We are all connected to it, unwillingly, in a two-direction way. Receive and pass data. Actually, the Maelstrom contains all our thoughts and deeds. And if we approach it with proper analysis, it will show our nearest future as well.
Zemeckis puts his fingers together and stares at the ceiling, thoughtful.
I'd like to tell you a secret,
he says after a long pause.
My engineers and programmers created a system capable of analyzing data from the Maelstrom and turning it into predictions. The only thing left, the most important thing to be precise, is to obtain it.
Zemeckis moves the flap of his coat aside. You notice a gun in his waist belt and a small knife on his thigh. However, he doesn't reach for the weapons. He produces a small device from his pocket, looking like a modified relic. The Phalanx leader hands you the device and pats you on the arm reassuringly.
Here your part begins. Taking this device to the center of the Maelstrom will be a piece of cake for you. I won't insist on you making your decision here and now. Take your time. But think. If we know the results of our actions, we will become gods.
Vale, ¿y los fatuos? Espera, armaduras. Quizás me darán armaduras mejores que las que tengo ya. A ver. Marcaquilla, pantalones. Pantalones guays. No, lo que tengo es infinitamente mejor que lo que lleva. Quizás no el casco. Aprendizaje, hostia. Mira, aprendizaje. A ver dónde están los fatuos según este tipa.
Good day.
Los fatuos están fuera. Quieren que haga que todo el mundo sea como los fatuos. Zeus. Zeus, ven aquí. ¿Dónde están los fatuos? Bueno, si los fatuos no están aquí, no pienso... Ni siquiera los hemos ido a ver y a hacer sus misiones, pero bueno, ya las haré en otro gameplay. Cuando vaya solo con 26 de cada estadística. Vale, a ver, se supone que tengo que entrar aquí. Lástima que aquí no te dice dónde está tu cámara. Ah, vale, Punta Corcón. Vale, ahora sí, esto es antes de empezar el capítulo número 3. Vámonos. Vaya. Hostia, sí que resiste electricidad. Psiónica. Mecánica, vale. Entonces me equipo con el arma psi. Vale, sí.
Concord Station's bus stop is shady and silent. Now this place looks completely unrecognizable. The floor is covered with small concrete crumbs, and green moss islands break through the cracks in the tiles, dampening the sound of your steps. The metal doors leading to the station suddenly begin to tremble, slowly shifting to the sides. Primitive automation and reliable light sensors still work despite all the cataclysms. Several people appear in the doorway. They have no insignia and uniforms, but they do not look like bandits. They must be from picnic.
Esconderte entre las sombras.
You freeze among the ruins, trying not to breathe or move. For a while, the fighters wander around the hall, discussing the noise they heard a few minutes ago in an undertone, and then leave, dissolving into the crumbling corridors of the station.
Vale, esto es... Apuñalamiento en sigilo.
There's outsider radiation everywhere. Someone passed through here, scattering their light around.
1000. Ay, mierda.
Someone touched us. Covered our places with their scent.
Level up. Nos espera letargo.
The wind howls in the ruins of the hall. The floor here is still strewn with burnt flares and documents stuck to the tiles, traces of a hasty, panicked evacuation. As soon as you enter the room, a panicked howl of the alarm is heard nearby. You step back into the shadows and press against the wall, your back feeling the touch of cold, damp metal. "Let's go inside." A voice distorted by the interference of the intercom is heard from somewhere above. Several ropes hang through the holes in the ceiling. Two black shadows rapidly slide down them and soundlessly land on the floor. After them, clutching the rope with trembling hands, a girl in a silver jacket slides down. Stopping in the middle of the hall, the blacks look around for a while and then lower their weapons in frustration. "All clear. Madam Administrator, I propose to relocate. Probably just a rat." After a brief conversation, the special forces leave. The silver follows after them, writing something in her handheld.
Y nos lo espera, me jode, ¿eh? Hostia, ¿qué es eso? Torreta extraña. ¿Por qué matarlos a todos si puedo irme simplemente de aquí? Sí, como si pienso luchar contra todos vosotros. Si hay un boss, obviamente lucharé.
A heavy blow rings out behind your back, followed by rumbling, metallic grinding, and the roar of an engine. You turn to see a phalanx truck racing down the corridor, littered with stones and concrete debris. The car stops. An energetic little man with an angry, sunburned face jumps out. "Move out, folks! Look alive! Go! Go!" He slams his hand on the cab, and several fighters hop out. On their commander's orders, they anchor their grappling hooks on the remains of a glass bridge and climb to the second floor. You quickly find shelter among the broken walls and debris. You watch from cover as the mercenaries arrive. They look around for a while, then move deeper into the station, talking in low voices.
Hostia. Holograma de entrenamiento, pero esta vez tiene una pistola. Supongo que tengo que ir aquí. No. Supongo que tengo que ir. No sé dónde tengo que ir.
The holographic training simulation is still running. Pink silhouettes are walking their patrol, weapons ready. Looking over the terminal's half-shattered display, you realize the situation has become much more dire. The active program reports that the holograms are equipped to fire energy pulses, and their hits can be quite painful. After some time, you notice a group of temple novitiates. Like you, they're studying the hologram from a safe distance. They haven't spotted you yet. You freeze near the crumpled wall panels and surreptitiously examine the cultists. The churchmen proceed cautiously through the hall. A few minutes later, they disappear into the ruined station. They do not return.
¿Dónde tengo que ir? ¡Epa! Uf. Casi, chaval, casi. No sé si tengo que ir ahí o no. Vale, espera. Aquí.
Maelstrom is getting nearer. The increasing vibration and tense crackling of your Kairos Geiger counter attest to it. Beyond the door at the end of the corridor, a ragged white storm is raging, and yellowed sheets of paper now and then flap against the dusty glass in the gale force winds. A strange rattling sounds from the restroom. The noise gradually increases in volume until it explodes into a cacophony of breaking porcelain and gushing water. Almost simultaneously, fountains of sewage erupt above the toilet stalls. This disaster is followed by a discordant cry of victory. A powerful kick throws the toilet door open, and 3 fops come out of the stall. You're hiding in the ruins of visitor registration. The fops run to and fro across the destroyed lobby, screaming, turning over chairs, smashing light bulbs, and urinating in the flower pots. They don't seem to have any motive, but are simply reveling in rampant chaos. When they run out of breath, the fops return to the bathroom, from which come the sounds of flushing water and gradually receding voices.
Buah. Cápsula rota. Esto de aquí. Esto de aquí, ¿no?
The crackling of your Kairos suddenly breaks through Maelstrom's howling. Pulsating purple waves ripple and flex in the glowing air as if boiling about the invisible border. You throw your head back to see Maelstrom lazily swirling directly above you, but an unknown anomaly is blocking your way. It's almost imperceptible, but probably extremely dangerous. You throw a bolt at the anomaly. It hops about in the air for a few seconds, as if bouncing on an invisible trampoline, and then flattens as if crushed by a multi-ton press, and finally snaps in half. Green rays flicker across the surface of the anomaly, outlining its spheroidal shape. Data scrolls up on your scanner display. You circle around the anomaly. It's an irregularly shaped bubble around a dense, swirling void. The anomaly covers an area of about 30 square meters, and most of the landing capsule falls within its perimeter. That will be a problem. This is the same capsule you were going to use to get to Maelstrom. You return to the anomaly. The uneven border of pulsating air is fluttering only a few... You return to the anomaly. Crumbled concrete and glass fragments crackle underfoot. After a single step, you find yourself uncomfortably close to the anomaly. The air before your face vibrates intensely and radiates a slight warmth. The anomaly suddenly seems to stretch towards you, as if sensing your presence. You walk decisively into the tensely vibrating bubble and... nothing happens. Opening your eyes, you see that the space around you is slowly moving upwards, as if rolling upon lazy waves. You take a cautious step forward, but for some reason the anomaly doesn't harm you. Perhaps it really is sentient, or it functions according to some unknown logic beyond your understanding. You find yourself in the same white fog that enshrouded you while in stasis. Familiar figures appear from the suddenly misty air. Leaders stand around you on every side. Zemeckis smiles slyly. Nakamura frowns in perplexity. And Victoria laughs, just as always, with a predatory smile on her face. For some reason, they seem much more real than before.
Aquí no está la tipa, a esta no la conozco, no la conocemos para nada. Nakamura.
You barely touch Kimiko and she appears next to you. You stare at each other for a couple of moments, and then she explodes, sprinkling you with blood. The anomaly surrounding the landing pad begins to change. The vibration around its perimeter grows more rapid and chaotic, as if engulfed by a transparent flame. A moment later, it disappears with a soft poof. The way is clear. You look back at the ruins of the landing pad once more. A purple glow seems to have frozen in the air. Somewhere high above your head, the transport capsule's cables vibrate like giant guitar strings. Maelstrom is already near. All that remains is to take the last step.
final todo saldrá bien en el empleado anónimo. Epílogo. ¿Qué voy a decidir con la Maelstrom? Pues en sigilo
The
por si acaso.
Maelstrom, now weak and shrunk, is slowly spinning amidst the thick fog. It is restrained by the emulator's core broadcasting via the Maelstrom beacons, though still very dangerous. You touch it with your fingers for a split second, and a flow of information overwhelms you at once, stunning you for a few moments. Listening carefully, you hear the familiar sound ingrained in your memory. Soft, rhythmic beats like heartbeats. You've already heard them while contacting the Maelstrom through the emulator, but they're much weaker and softer now. The surface of the Maelstrom unfolds slowly and as if reluctantly in rhythm with the beats. Your mind opens toward the white nothingness as if hanging in midair. And something living inside the Maelstrom, invisible but perceptible, freezes in front of you, awaiting your command.
Eyector. Eyector. ¿Qué es el eyector? Vamos a purgar a todo el mundo. Vamos a purgar a todo el mundo. Yo quiero ayudar a Russo. La verdad. Quiero science.
You stop beside the Maelstrom, thinking. Any decision seems a hasty one now. Whoever you give control of this power to, there'll be no way to predict the consequences. The only solution that seems reasonable is giving the Maelstrom to scientists. With enough time and resources for their research, they'll do the right thing eventually. Your mind is connected to the Maelstrom. You give it a complicated order. Split into several streams, lower the peripheral activity, and make specific borders to the research zones to avoid disturbing ordinary dome dwellers. The white vortex is shimmering with lightning, listening obediently to your commands. Then flashes with white light and spreads so fast you have no time to react. The shining stream pushes you backward, casting you into an endless white nothingness.
¿Dónde estoy?
Yoko looks at you with glowing blue eyes.
Research mode. Senpai, your mission is complete. Explain to me what is customary to do in such cases. Will you go for recycling? To a long-term storage warehouse? Will you get a new task? I am ready to analyze your answer.
The robo-girl nods.
The answer is accepted. I know the expression, to retire. It means wasting resources for an aimless existence. Sounds absurd. I thought it was something called humor.
Yoko's eyes change color.
Social mode. I received an answer to my question. Ready to answer yours, Senpai.
The robo-girl freezes for a couple of seconds, apparently analyzing the data array.
From our travels, Senpai, I've come up with a pretty accurate picture of the world. This is a highly competitive environment, a testing ground, the conditions of which lead to the extinction of sentimental, weak, and stupid individuals, which makes it possible to free up living space for more adapted people. A wonderful place with an artificially forced evolution. My components and assemblies are quite worn out, so I will return to Magellan for a short while for repairs and maintenance, after which I will continue my research on the dome on my own.
She tilts her head and squints.
Senpai, I inform you that I am going to Magellan. If you need help, you can always find me there.
She slings her rifle over her shoulder. Yoko walks away with a steady, brisk step.
¿Tú quién eres? ¿Qué tengo que hacer ahora? Voy con ruso. No, aquí. ¿Te imaginas de que los demás me atacan? Los científicos me tienen que ayudar. Talentos. De nada.
Yellow dust is still hovering in the warm air, not yet settled down completely. Russo is standing near her tent, looking both peaceful and lost.
I feel as if they'd taken my favorite toy from me. I'm kidding. I'm glad you succeeded.
Henrietta watches the maelstrom, which looks as if squeezed inside a gigantic parallelepiped.
The most involved part is just the beginning. I make up an engineer team first, we create a maelstrom controlling interface, and then we elaborate a system of tests.
She lightly squeezes your shoulder and looks into your eyes gratefully.
I say, without my usual irony, we'll be able to do so much thanks to you. How much? I don't know. Our future may surpass our boldest dreams. Time will tell.
Vale, pues salgo de aquí. Nakamura está viva, ¿eh?
Don't you dare touch the dead.
Oblígame.
Another milestone in the history of mankind has come to an end. Maelstrom, that you have awakened in the excavation zone at C-12 Nashville facility, has remained completely unexplored, much like the civilization of the forefathers that created it. Of course, Maelstrom was neither good nor evil. It probably turned out to be just a tool that humanity simply was not mature enough to wield. Perhaps it was a communication interface that tried to unite the minds of all the people under the dome. Or a security system that warned us against getting into contact with something unknown and dangerous. Or a creative force that transforms the world and awakens supernatural powers in some individuals. One thing is indisputable. Maelstrom, lost in its own creation, gave rise to your incredible mind. And once in your hands, it gave you the opportunity to change the fate of the world completely. When it came down to making a choice, you followed your conscience and put your trust in someone whose intelligence, sincerity, and good intentions were never in doubt. Henrietta Russo and all her scientist colleagues under the dome received a truly luxurious gift. An enormous, insanely complex anomaly ready for their research and experiments. Maelstrom was split into many foci with different properties and well-defined boundaries. Although your decision had political consequences, nothing much changed at first. Life under the dome went on as usual. Nakamura's death was the start of a new chapter in the city's history. Those who succeeded Kimiko realized how badly the city needed democracy and immediately moved to soften the committee's many regulations. The rules of staying in the city and sales duties were significantly relaxed. These policy changes led to the slow but steady growth of the settlement.
Vaya, pues he hecho bien.
After Kurt Spengler became mayor of Junktown, the settlement started to change. Construction of the long-promised wall began. The number of police officers increased, and life in the inhospitable slums became a little safer and quieter, albeit poorer than before. However, business in Junktown soon began to decline after Bethany's bar ceased to exist. Having lost their favorite meeting place, merchants began to leave Junktown, and the taxes raised by Spengler only accelerated the already irreversible process. Within a few years, Junktown became impoverished and depopulated. The once promising settlement has turned into a dying slum.
Vaya.
With the weakening of the new committee, Magellan weakened too. The regime remained the same, only the people became poorer and more miserable. Elections took place in Carmine Heights. The Reisners kept their position. The long-lasting, simmering conflict which had been ruining the marriage of Johann and Olivia gradually faded. The now wiser spouses managed to build a balanced settlement, combining both powerful scientific potential and productive agriculture. With the passage of time, Carmine Heights managed a small but technically equipped army to protect the Republic from invading forces.
Mi ayuda influyó en el asentamiento siriano para que la comunidad aprendiera la lección de la paz, se convirtió en la prioridad absoluta de sus miembros y derivó a la creación del parlamento local.
Zemeckis' embarrassment from losing the elections in Carmine Heights didn't last long. Hieronymus channeled all his passion toward transforming the Phalanx, trying to turn it from a private mercenary army to something bigger. One could say he failed. The false database you gave him did not allow Zemeckis to lure the new committee's key employees away, which was necessary to develop the Phalanx's own scientific projects. The Phalanx remained a community of mercenaries. The pocket country created by Hieronymus decayed gradually, becoming totally unpopulated after a couple of decades. Zemeckis himself died in 1999 after a long illness, seeing for himself both the rise and fall of the Phalanx. Your actions concerning the church were somewhat contradictory, and so played no significant role in its fate. The organization existed for many years, reaching its full potential in 1993, a couple of years before the abbot's death. As for the picnic neutral zone, it degraded slowly for many years. Your help proved to be not enough to provide its autonomy.
Vaya.
Victoria was furious when she realized control over Maelstrom had slipped from her grasp. Led by their queen, the Fops army roamed the dome for many years, attacking patrols, caravans, and occasionally travelers. The gang's life ended some 30 years later at the Phalanx Fortress, when the last surviving Fops clashed with the elderly Phalanx men. The fight was desperate, and there were no survivors. As for Victoria, she survived and wandered in the desert for a long time, until one day, weakened and completely insane, she was picked up by some bandits. They sold the former queen to a brothel, where she ended her existence. Victoria Legrand had every chance of dying of syphilis, but alcohol and progressive insanity killed her earlier. In the hands of White Wing, Maelstrom began a new scientific era. The next 2 years of research revealed more about the dome than everything that had been learned before. New drugs were developed to completely counter radiation sickness and cancer. In 1983, the prospect of escaping the dome and reversing the infertility problem were but the first of many glorious achievements for mankind. The scientists had no desire to become a political force, but nevertheless their influence changed society under the dome forever. The future continued to be uncertain, but now at least it was in good hands. Though it became obvious much later, after many years, by that time, the desert had covered your traces. Though the tale of what you'd done is still alive, and will stay like that till the end of time.
Termina el juego. Oh, pedazo juego, pedazo juego, pedazo juego. Oh, sí. Pues ya está. Vale, podemos escapar esto, sí. Pues nada, hasta aquí esta serie. Soy Severat y nos vemos en el próximo directo video serie. Chao.